Hey, you Stygian Dogs. It's July 3rd, and this marks the release of issue number 12 of Conan the Barbarian from Titan Comics and Heroic Signatures. Everybody should be really excited for this one. It's been an epic year, and this one wraps it all up. Mostly, and it's fantastic. The whole year's been frickin' fantastic. Titled The Age Unconquered Part 4, Terror Undreamed of, Jim Zub and Roberto Torre continue to give readers everything that we've come to expect. Superlative writing and art that honors the character, fills out the lore, and provides thrills with every turn of the page. As usual, we'll take our thorough look at the book, but first, while you go out and buy it, let's recap last month's issue and have a look at this month's covers. Conan, currently free from the limits of space and time, must follow the winding path that ties his fate to Brissa and Brule. In service to Kull and Brule, Conan and a retinue of Red Slayers descend into the blighted orifice. A subterranean horde surges forth to attack. All but Kull, Brule, Conan, and a single Slayer remain, and they delve deeper still. A sarcophagus emblazoned with an evil ancient eye and a familiar relic is encountered. The king is slain as Tulsa Doom is reborn, set to rule all ages unconquered. As for this month's covers, we get the following. Cover A is from Jeffrey Allen Love. This may look familiar, especially if you happen to be reading Conan City of the Dead. And here's the Virgin version to go along with it. Cover B is from Stuart Sayger. And this great cover C is from Greg Broadmore. Now, let's take a look at issue number 12 of Conan the Barbarian from Titan Comics and Heroic Signatures. And here we go. I'll flip through the book, present a few close-ups of panels. I'll try not to read too much verbatim, but I will outline the general plot and happenings. I want you to be curious and to grab your own copy. Seriously, buy these comics, especially this one. It's great. I want to give you a sense of how things look and to hopefully convey my excitement and a few summary thoughts. But be warned, if you want a pure reading experience, and I know you do, I would caution you about spoilers. If inclined, feel free to skip ahead to the conclusion. Now, I've said it before, but I really do have to mention the quality of these books. The paper is thick, silky, glossy goodness. They really are something to be read in physical form if you can get a hold of them. They're a real joy, and the price is pretty amazing for what you get. On the inside cover, we see credits for the teams at Heroic Signatures and Titan Comics. Following that, we open with the Numidian Chronicles, a summary of the events in the previous issue, and again, a map focusing on Atlantis, drawn by the talented hand of Francesca Barald. The Black Stone is Doom's, as are its secrets. His ambition knows no bounds beyond flesh, beyond death, beyond time. The power is all Doom's. An epic first page here, the loathsome lich in realms celestial. And Brule is out of time. Volusia will fall as the line of kings is vanquished, none left to defy the sorcerer. As he ushers in a new age of doom. Conan the Barbarian, The Age Unconquered Part 4, Terror Undreamed of. Doom wields the Atlantean blade enshrouded by eldritch energies, and the creative team for this, issue number 12, of the best damn comic book series of our era, Grim Jim Zub, writer, Ravaging Rob de la Torre, artist, Dangerous Diego Rodriguez, color artist, Rascally Richard Starkings and Comic Craft's Tyler Smith, lettering, Calamitous Chris Butera, editor, Merciless Matt Murray, contributing editor. The reader is transported to an age before the Thurian, an age of Atlantis. A black stone of devastation calls to a man named Cthulhu, unlocking dark knowledge and darker magic. The dead commanded to rise and follow their master. The Lovecraftian connection is certainly strong here. Cthulhu's no more. Doom he brought, so doom he shall be. Thulsa Doom, tyrant conqueror of Atlantis. Seeking to evade death's final embrace, the necromancer is entombed in a sarcophagus fashioned from starstruck stone. Body rotting, his dark soul sustained, a vision of a line of warrior kings whose strength of spirit would threaten his unholy machinations. Doom knows that it must be severed at its source. Foul plans to be foiled no more. No more shall Kull defy death, his lineage to end upon the Atlantean blade. A voice sounds from the shadows, silencing the sorcerer. Conan's cuts, confusing the ancient Atlantean. And Yegkosh's words echo once more. The Cimmerian's presence, a hole in the air to those with whom his fate is not yet entwined. The sorcerer, sourcing the sound of the Cimmerian's slicing sword, is suddenly skull-struck. Conan's Pictish blade is shattered by the Atlantean sword, its remnants thrust into Doom's skull. As a weakened rule rises to action, Conan claims the necromancer's sword for his own. Sword claimed, fates now met, Doom penetrates the veil of mist and shadow and finally knows his enemy, Conan of Cimmeria. What can be seen can be slain. Doom launches forth his dire death magic, but the barbarian's rage surges against the torrent of pain. The Atlantean sword, forged in fire and blessed deepest black, is now brought upon its mighty master. Fighting hands severed at the forearm, maggot-ridden innards oozing forth from his death-infused form, Brule implores Kull to bring forth his tiger strength to aid Conan and banish the bastard once and for all, as Tulsa Doom draws forth the vast energy from the depths of the shimmering black stone. Mortal bindings banished, the necromancer's scornful soul merges with the star-splashed sorcery of the stone and its source. Beyond flesh, beyond death, and beyond time, the source of the stone's grim glory, a terror undreamed of to be awakened. As the necromancer screams, the barbarian roars, and oblivion answers the call. Man, I just love these pages. With a blast of cosmic fury, the man known as Cthulhu is no more. The Cimmerian vanishes in a flash of light, and the Atlantean sword tumbles out of reach as Brule and a deeply wounded Kull flee the collapsing cavern, as the Atlantis of old is swept away by a rising tide. The loyal Pict and Volusia's barbarian king rise, bloody and unbound, left to find their way home with a tale to tell. And what of Conan's severed soul, adrift and spiraling, traveling through a cosmos that turns without and within? The weight of fierce flesh returns, but to where? To when? To that moment, the precipice of a past's pact, and a choice to be rid of memories sharpened to cut. A definite highlight of this issue has been these moments of the Celestial. Here as Conan returns to his timeline and the earlier depictions of Doom. Great stuff. And what of his recent past? The demise of the Glory Hounds, Conan's ensorcelled rampage. Shadowzar swallows any wickedness unleashed within its woeful walls, walls and wickedness to be left behind. Memories of the ancient past recede, and the wanderer ventures onward. A fantastic image here that reminds us of De La Torre's cover from the Free Comic Book Day issue 0. It brings the year's journey full circle. As an epilogue, it's springtime on the Pictish coast. A fisherman casts his net, a strange snare heralds a bounty, but a different treasure is retrieved. An Atlantean sword for an Atlantean king, now and forevermore. So ends the epic first-year run of Jim Zub's Conan the Barbarian from Titan Comics and Heroic Signatures. And what a year and what an issue. Roberto de la Torre's loathsome lich is wonderfully realized, as is his backstory as provided by Jim Zub. With a nod to H.P. Lovecraft's world building, we follow the journey of the man named Cthulhu and his dark descent to doom. And when Cthulhu wields the Atlantean blade in those early pages, his depiction is reminiscent of James Earl Jones's portrayal of the character, further enmeshing the breadth of the barbarian's legend. It's a nice touch. Zub and de la Torre give us page after page of excellence, and as has been the case throughout the whole series, this issue's success extends beyond the writer and principal artist. Diego Rodriguez's colors truly shine in the moments of eldritch sorcery and celestial summoning, while Richard Starkings and Tyler Smith's letters nicely delineate the moments of Doom's dark deceits and diabolical declarations. The final product is thoroughly satisfying, all of it a thrill, ending with a palate-cleansing promise of future adventure. On the opposite page, appropriately enough, is an advertisement for the Battle of the Black Stone, arriving in September. Turning the page, we come to part 12 in the series of essays by Jeffrey Shanks. This one is titled Conan, Cthulhu, and the Cosmic Horror of Robert E. Howard. Jeff starts with speaking about Robert E. Howard's correspondence with H.P. Lovecraft, the master of supernatural horror and a fellow contributor to Weird Tales, and how, beginning in the 1920s, Lovecraft began to encourage his fellow authors to reference elements from each other's stories in order to create a sense of the real. This effort at shared world building would be known as the Cthulhu mythos, named after Lovecraft's famous tentacled monstrosity. As an aside, the viewer should note the tentacled beast from issues number 3 and 4, and the man named Cthulhu who would become Tulsa Doom. As Howard began to participate in this world sharing, so too did he begin writing stories in the Lovecraftian vein, featuring occult detectives like John Conrad and John Carrowan encountering cosmic horrors. Shanks writes of how Conan stories are steeped in Lovecraftian themes and horrors, and that the inclusion of mythos references are more than just mere window dressing. They characterize the supernatural in the Conan stories as more cosmic horror than gothic horror, and that it's Howard's fusion of cosmic horror with swashbuckling pulp adventure that makes Howard's sword and sorcery a unique subgenre of fantasy. I'll mention here that Jeffrey Shanks' comic writing debut will appear in Savage Sword of Conan number 4 with the Conrad and Carrowan story. And if you haven't watched it already, please be sure to check out my conversation with Jeff. It's chock full of great Robert E. Howard information, and I know you'll like it. After Shanks' essay and advertisement for John C. Hocking's Conan, City of the Dead, this was released last month. The official Conan channel has a fantastic interview with the author, and I'm about halfway through the book, and I've got to say it's fantastic, so be sure to check that out. After that, a look at this month's covers galleries, and then on the back, an advertisement for the Funcom properties. So a few more thoughts before we wrap things up. Back in April, in my look at issue number 10, I'd wondered, with all that Jim Zub had set in motion, would he stick the landing? And well, what does that mean? I suppose I'd ask, does this final issue do service to the arcs that came before? Does it address what was set in motion from the first issue onward? Does it answer questions to the riddles that were introduced over the previous 11 issues? And do we get a satisfying resolution? To these questions, I'd mostly say yes. The issue was dynamite. As a single issue, it's great. Tulsa Doom and full lich likeness blended with Lovecraftian lore. Awesome. Plus, a generally happy ending, setting the stage for new adventures. As an arc ender, the same, a terrific climax to Conan's mysterious transit to the Thurian Age, with that mystery utilized in the storytelling, presaging Conan's return to his own time, and owning Conan's actions in the second arc. I was worried that the mystery and the magic of his return might have somehow erased this dark chapter. And what about as a final issue, capping off a year of excellent interwoven storytelling? Without going into a complete issue-by-issue analysis, well, we got the full origin of the Black Stone and its power and purpose. After the invocation of Doom's name in issue number 3, we get his reveal in issue 11 and the full elaboration here in issue 12. We got what we were promised, and then some, like the connection between the tentacled monstrosity, the Lake of Souls, to the man named Cthulhu. We see Conan return to Shadowzar without the undoing of his heinous acts and with his grief over the loss of Belit resolved. Sure, we don't have all the answers. We don't know what happened to Brissa. And of course, we know that the saga of the Black Stone is not yet finished. But I certainly feel like we've been given a satisfying resolution to the year's threads, with a hint of mystery to keep us going. So all of this to say, yes, it all worked out splendidly. It stuck the landing. And finally, I'll close on a personal note. It's been really fun documenting these first 12 issues. It's been wonderful to witness Jim Zub's Conan the Barbarian progress as it has. It's great to cheer on the success of others, and Zub and the rest of the creative team deserve to be celebrated. Sure, maybe I have some observer bias, but to me, it really feels like there's a sense of renewed interest and excitement for Conan and the works of Robert E. Howard. For me, this series has brought renewed joy. It's nice to be excited for comics again, to make regular visits to the local shop, to scour bins and to try new things. It's been wonderful to reread Howard's Conan and to explore his other writings. I've also been inspired to read other pulp writers that I just never got around to. I've had great conversations with generous people, and I've enjoyed connecting with many friends of the channel. I'm truly grateful for all of this and for all of you, and for a reason to proselytize about Conan and Robert E. Howard. So, a sincere thank you to all you Stygian Dogs. Thanks for watching, liking, consider subscribing. I can't wait to get my hands on issue number 13 and the return of Doug Braithwaite. Keep an eye out for my look at Savage Sword of Conan number 3. Plus, I'm almost done my nerdiest of deep dives into 2 surprising Conan materials. So, until next time, take it easy, Stygian Dogs.